So true success in business, in my view, is the ability to build a quality business that is designed to be able to grow and to not be afraid to think big. So build a business that is valuable, scalable and saleable. And here are my 8 tips to building a bigger, better business. Key number 1 to building a better, bigger business is to be in business for the right reasons. There are only 2 reasons to be in business. One is to make money and the other is to make a difference. As the CEO of your company, you have a fiduciary responsibility to the shareholders to give them a return on their investment. Even if you're the only shareholder, you have a responsibility to yourself to give yourself a return on investment, the investment of your time and the money you've put into the business. So you have to think about money. And there's nothing wrong with thinking about money. It's not bad to want to create wealth in your business. And if it's going to grow, it has to create profits. So you have to be financially astute when you're in business. However, a business that just focuses on money is a business without soul. I really encourage business owners to think about the difference they're making with their business. What difference are you making to your customers, to the people out there, to your community, to the region, to the country or even the world? Focus on making a difference. There's an ironic sort of karmic beauty about all of this, is that the more people you make a difference to, the more people will be attracted to your business and the more money you'll make. So put all your energy and your focus into making a difference, but be financially responsible and you'll have a winning formula. The second key to building a bigger, better business is to create an asset, not a job. If you're in business right now and your business requires you to go to work every single day in order for it to survive, and you don't have a plan for how you're going to change that at some point in the future, you haven't built a business yet, you've created a job. And if you're like most business owners that I come across, it'll be a job that pays you less than someone else will pay you if you went and worked for them. It makes you work twice as many hours, it makes you more stressed, doesn't give you enough holidays. In fact, if you went and worked for someone else and they treated you like your business treats them, you'd take a personal grievance out against them. So it's really important to understand that you're creating an asset here, not a job. The difference between successful, wealthy entrepreneurs and owner-operator mentality is that an entrepreneur understands that they're building an asset. Now, by asset, I mean something that feeds you income long after you stop working in it. So that's the goal with a business. So you have to ask yourself, have you created a job or have you created an asset? Will your business be able to feed you long after you stop working in it? If the answer is that you've created a job, then you need to change something. You don't have to change it overnight, but you need to start working now to think about how you're going to turn your business into something valuable that one day will be able to feed you back the return on investment when you stop working in it. So if you're not sure how to do that, watch the rest of the next 6 points that I'm going to make, and hopefully I'll give you some ideas on how you're going to do it. So my third key for building a better, bigger business is start with the end in mind. When I started my ad agency, when I planned it out, I knew right from the start that I was going to sell that ad agency to a multinational. And my goal was to sell it within 10 years. I thought about who that multinational company would be. I had a good idea which particular company it would be. And I thought long and hard about what would they want in an agency to buy it. I wrote down how much I wanted to sell it for. And I had to think about what would the agency need to be in order for them to pay that kind of money for it. I built a really clear picture in my mind, and it was 10 years out. And so then I had to work backwards because I started with nothing. So I had to work out what I needed to do over the next 10 years to build an agency that someone else would want to buy. The key was that I planned my exit right from the start. And that's what I encourage business owners that I work with to do, is have a look at what your business is going to be worth in the future and build a business that you can sell. Now, I get a lot of business owners when I'm working tell me that they're never going to want to sell their business, that they can't imagine ever not working in their business. And my reply is, it doesn't matter. You don't have to sell it. The point is, if you build a business that's saleable and valuable, you have choice. And having choice is actually where the freedom comes from in business. Something could happen to you. You could get sick. You might need to move away. If your business has been built to sell right from the start, you'll be able to sell it. If you haven't actually planned to build a business that you can sell, you'll get stuck and you won't get any return for all of that hard work you've put in. So I say to people, if you're going to be working for 5, 10, 15 years in a business and you're going to give it everything you've got, you're going to work long hours, why not build it as you go so that it has value at the end? So start with the end in mind. So my challenge to you now is to think about that. When would you want to sell your business? What would it look like in the future? And importantly, who would buy it? If you can get a focus on what kind of company or individual would buy your business in the future, build the business that they would want to buy. And you can start building that into your business planning right now. So the fourth key to building a bigger, better business is to focus on the business model. See, many business owners, most business owners, in fact, that I come across, put all of their energy into their product and service and making sure that that's fantastic, and in how they sell and market that product or service. They put very little energy or thought into how they're actually going to grow the business model itself. And to create an asset, as we talked about before, your business has to be scalable. It has to be able to grow. So you need to be thinking as much about the product and service, you need to be thinking about how the business is going to grow. My ad agency was a very simple business model. It was a service model. In order to grow, I needed to think about team, systems, and training. So as long as I could hire really good people, I had good systems that I could bring them into, and I could train them to deliver the service as well as I wanted them to deliver it, then I knew I could grow. So as well as focusing on doing great advertising, I also put a lot of energy into building a great team and teaching them how to deliver. That was my growth model. For my pet care business, it was a completely different model. We were really looking at systemization, and we wanted to be able to build a business that didn't need a whole lot of people at head office. So we used technology to build an online booking system, that search and booking and matching system. And it was technology that actually enabled that business to scale. So my challenge to you here is to think about your business model right now. What is it? What is the model that you've got right now? And how can you change it to scale it in the future? And a second part of building a successful, scalable business model is to look at a concept called recurring revenue. The most valuable businesses have revenue that's locked into the future, and we call this recurring revenue. So my advertising agency, by example, our recurring revenue came in the form of contracts. All of our biggest clients were on 2 to 3 year contracts, and they were all on monthly fees. So we had that monthly fee locked into the future for 2 to 3 years ahead. So when the buyer came along, they could look into the future and know that our income was going to continue, regardless of whether I was there or not. Other forms of recurring revenue are subscriptions, memberships, license fees, franchise fees, product dependency. That's that great model when you buy a printer and you get a printer for a really good price, and then you realise that you've been locked into buying all the toner and the ink and the paper for that printer for the whole lifetime of that piece of equipment. Another one is when you buy a cell phone and you're locked into the plan. These are all forms of recurring revenue that have been very strategically thought about in order to drive value into that business. So another challenge for you under looking at your business model, is there anywhere you could put some recurring revenue into your business model structure? My key number 5 for building a better, bigger business is to remove the dependency on you. The biggest hindrance of any business is its dependency on its owner. And the biggest danger is the unwillingness of that business owner to let go of the control. Your business is not your baby. I'm going to say that again, just in case you didn't hear me properly the first time. Your business is not your baby. You have to let go, and you have to get your ego out of the way, because it is ego and fear that drives that unwillingness to let go and that need to control. I'm going to tell you a story that came into my Facebook feed about a year ago of a lady in America who had a bakery. And she built this bakery up over 14 years. It was in her hometown. She was really proud of it. She'd done really well. She called it her baby. She was very emotionally attached to her baby. But she realised that she needed to grow, and she was feeling that she couldn't do it by herself. So she brought 2 business partners in. She was very naive, and she gave them both equal shareholding with herself. So there was a third, a third, a third. After a year, the two new business partners joined together and they ganged up, and they had a majority shareholding between them, and they decided they wanted to get rid of her. According to her, they marched her at gunpoint out of her own building, which only could happen in America, surely. She was devastated. They stole her baby. She grieved. She said she grieved for a couple of years, and then she thought, I'm not going to get angry, I'm going to get even. So she started another bakery. This time she said, I'm not going to do it with emotion. I'm going to have no emotional attachment to this. I'm going to do it purely strategically. I'm going to make clear decisions based on business strategy, not on emotion. Within a couple of years, she had a bakery in every state across the states. She absolutely whipped their butts. The two ladies who took over her business were still working in the same bakery in the same town. So the lesson there is that without emotion, you can think clearly and you can move on and create a business that doesn't have dependency on you. Now, I know right now for a lot of people watching this that you're asking yourself, how can I build a business that's not dependent on me? So hopefully the next 4 keys will give you some concepts that you can think about. Key number 6 to building a bigger, better business is to build a brand that stands for something. Branding, in my opinion, is the least understood and most undervalued weapon that an entrepreneur has available to them. To be blunt, I think the biggest difference between companies that go on and achieve great levels of growth and those that remain stunted and small is their understanding of the power of a great brand. If your customers love your brand and your team deliver on your brand promise, they don't need you. This is one of the keys to removing dependency, because they'll love your business and your brand more than they love you. And that is actually your goal as a business owner. You see, a brand is not just logo and colours, despite what graphic designers might tell you. It isn't what goes on your business card. It's everything that your business stands for. It's driven by your vision, your desire to make a difference. It influences everything: how you stand out from your competitors, how your staff behave, your marketing and your business strategy. The best companies in the world have strong brands. So I encourage you as a business owner right now to study branding. Take a look at the brands out there that you really admire or that inspire you. See if you can work out what their business strategy is by studying their brand. Take a look at your own brand and be willing to invest in your brand. Go and talk to a brand strategist or brand agency. Now, I don't mean go and talk to the designer you usually use to do your newsletters or your logo, or any old graphic design company. Go and talk to a brand specialist agency and ask them to take a look at your brand and ask them what they could do to help you build a powerful brand. And be willing to invest in it. Believe me, if you invest in a brand, it isn't an expense. It shouldn't go on your expense line, because this is actually building in you having a better, bigger business in the future. So, key number 7 to building a bigger, better business is to build a strong culture. You can't build a big business without a team. And you can't build a high-performance team without a great culture. Like branding, culture is one of the most misunderstood and least valued weapons in an entrepreneur's arsenal. So the biggest companies have strong cultures. Virgin is a great example. We all know what the Virgin brand stands for. It's a great deal for every person, regardless of whether it's the music industry or the airline industry or finance. And Richard Branson has driven that brand, and he's driven the culture. You can imagine what it would be like to work at Virgin. It would be fun, it would be inspiring, you'd be encouraged to have ideas, you'd be encouraged to do good in the world. So, and Richard Branson has companies all over the world. He doesn't have to be there. He doesn't have to be at all of them. Every single one will have the same culture because he's created a strong culture. Culture is made up of 4 key elements. Your vision. How are you making a difference in the world? This is what will inspire people to want to work with you. And it will inspire customers to want to come as well. Your values. What do you believe and how do you behave? And how do your team behave and what do they believe? It's personality. So is it a fun personality that your company has? Is it serious? What personality do you want for your business? It'll probably come from you, the owner, but you have to put it into the culture. And the 4th element of good culture is rituals. These are the things that happen in your business that your team can rely on. It's the regular meetings, it's the birthday celebrations, it's the days off to do good in the world, I know one of the big banks here, every year they have a day where every single person in the company, right across all branches, take the day off and go and do good in the community. So what are the rituals that make up the familiarity that makes your team feel comfortable and they know where they stand? So before you start hiring, have a great culture. Think about your culture. Be a good employer and hire people in to a culture where they feel welcome, they know what to expect, and they know what the environment is. Think about the environment you're creating first. That way you can hire people that fit your culture rather than just hiring people who can do the job for you. Key number 8 in building a bigger, better business is to be disciplined. The underlying trait of every successful entrepreneur I know, and I've interviewed probably about 30 or 40 really successful entrepreneurs over the last couple of years, discipline is something they all have in common. One of the biggest personality disorders I see in business is what I call the magpie syndrome. This is that temptation to run off chasing after the next bright, shiny opportunity. It takes the focus off the business. It often costs money. It costs time. It often can be emotionally challenging. It puts stress on the person running off chasing the next opportunity, and it also puts stress on the team left behind. So be focused. Don't go chasing after every opportunity. Mostly I see this happen because the business owner doesn't have a clear business plan in place. They don't have clear objectives, targets and strategies. So they just chase after the next opportunity that comes along. Sometimes it pays off. Most times it just costs. So the disciplines of business involve having a long-term and short-term plan, having a budget and monthly reporting against that budget, having clear job descriptions and performance reviews for everybody in the organisation, not just the staff but also the business owners, and having a proper business case. For every time a new opportunity comes along, do a business case. Have a look at what the strengths and weaknesses are of the opportunity. How is it going to impact on the business? What is it going to cost? And what's the return on investment? If you do that every single time a bright, shiny opportunity comes up, you'll feel less the need to go chasing after every single one. So many business owners that I start working with are sloppy. They don't have those things in place. They don't have a business plan. They don't have a budget. They don't do monthly reporting. They don't have clear job descriptions in place. They don't do reviews with their team. And they do chase after every opportunity that comes along. So there's a lot of running like crazy and actually not achieving everything they need to achieve. So business is a game, and like any sport, if you're going to learn the rules, you have to have discipline. You have to learn strategy and you have to apply that discipline when you're in business. In summary, to build a bigger, better business, you have to be in business for the right reason. You have to focus on making a difference, but also be financially astute. You have to plan your exit sooner rather than later. Focus on your business model, not just your product and service. Remove dependency on you, but you don't have to do that overnight. Build it into your plan, and over time, remove dependency on you. Build a powerful brand and a strong culture. Apply discipline to every aspect of your business. And if you're really interested in actually how you can build a business model that's going to help you grow into the future, you can book a session with me and we'll look at your business model and your growth plan.